In the long span of WoW's history, there are dozens and dozens of zones players have explored, from volcanic mountains to otherworldly swamps and fiery hellscapes. But there's one particular zone that is brought up time and time again for being one of the best zones in all of WoW because of just how cozy, relaxing, and beautiful it really is. Today, we are going to be covering that zone and talk about all the interesting lore and tidbits you may have missed. But first, traveling all the way over to the Grizzly Hills is expensive. So here's a quick word from today's sponsor. Battlegrounds, pet battles, dungeons, raids, Shadow Legends! Look, I know you guys love fantasy games, and Raid Shadow Legends is the most epic game of all time you can play straight from your phone. The new thing being added to Raid is my new favorite faction, the High Elves. They've been around for thousands of years and survived attacks from orcs and lizardmen. They helped the humans form into civilizations and defeat the orcs when they invaded. But then elven history turned for the worst when Cyrath, the Lord of Darkness, corrupt the elves to attack their own kingdom. This nearly wiped them all out, but Arvia survived and is now stronger than ever. This month, Raid is having a bunch of events with Forge Pass Season 3, which includes rewards like the limited edition artifact set. There's also new champions, along with some awesome looking champion skins for the incredible Madame Ceres. Ooh. But wait, there's some huge news you've all been waiting for, right? Later this month, the Death Knight is also going to become a legendary champion. Cool! There's never been a better time to get started, okay? New players, you can use my link or scan the QR code right here and get a free starter pack worth almost $30 and a free champion Aina, and also this cool in-game loot. You'll find your rewards here in your inbox for the next 30 days only. Thank you, Raid, for sponsoring this video. On with your regularly scheduled content. Welcome to Grizzly Hills. If you ask any WoW player what their favorite zone in WoW is, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna say this zone, because Grizzly Hills is the coziest zone in all of Azeroth.
Excellent!
One of the factions you'll find within the trees are called the Trappers. These hunting humans have lived in Grizzly Hills long before the Horde and the Alliance ever arrived to fight in the war against the Lich King. When they exactly arrived here is unknown, and they're huge, like 7 to 8 feet tall. And yes, I know Blizzard likes to increase the size of NPCs, but like, all of these humans are super, super tall. Anyways, recently, the Trappers have been dealing with a new, dangerous threat that has infiltrated their villages. A cabal has been spreading across the forest of Grizzly Hills called the Wolf Cult. In fact, there are rumors of people willingly accepting the Worgen curse because it would be a better fate than becoming a mindless zombie of the Scourge. Through a series of quests, players later find out that this leader of the cult is none other than Archmage Arugal, the same mage that spread the Worgen curse at Shadowfang Keep. He was killed back then, but was later resurrected by the Lich King's Council of Sandlane to fight once again. But we kill him again on the Blood Moon Isle, where he is residing atop of a stone tower that has the exact same architecture as his fortress back in Silverpine Forest. The centerpiece for the Grizzly Hills is a humongous, hollowed-out stump named Vordrassil, which has an extensive history. Long ago, the druid Fandral Staghelm took a bunch of branches from the World Tree of Nordrassil and planted them all over the world. He went to Ashenvale, Fairless, Hinterlands, Duskwood, and Crystal Song Forest, and all of these were considered great trees. And the one in Grizzly Hills was so big, it was considered a world tree, and was named Andrassil, meaning crown of snow. The goal of this tree was to help stop the spread of Serenite within the area, a powerful ore that was literally the blood of the old god Yogg-Saron. But since Andrassil was not blessed by the aspects like Nordrassil was, it was susceptible to old god corruption. Oops. Maybe you should have thought about that before you planted it, huh? So the Cenarian druids, they chopped it down to stop the spread of corruption, but the damage was already done. Yogg-Saron had already used the tree to breach into the Emerald Dream, and would eventually manifest the Emerald Nightmare within this new realm. The stump of the tree was renamed to Vordrassil, meaning broken crown, and when we find it in Wrath of the Lich King, these dumbass furbolgs thought it was a good idea to make an entire village within a dangerously corrupted dead tree, and now they all went insane and they're trying to kill each other. Even worse, they managed to resurrect the wild god Ursoc using the powers of Vordrassil and corrupted him in the process, and oh boy, you know what? Let's just go over Ursoc's lore real quick because it is hilariously tragic. Okay, so Ursoc fights in the War of the Ancients and is killed by demons. Now, there are 3 realms a wild god like Ursoc can go to. Our normal reality, Ardenweald, which is the place where all nature spirits go when they die, and the Emerald Dream, which is the life realm where they, do life stuff. I don't know, it's very vague. Point is, you think Ursoc would go to the nature death realm when he died, but that hadn't been written yet, so he goes to the Emerald Dream. Then he gets pulled out of the dream and resurrected by furbolgs, and then he dies again. He still does not go to Ardenweald because it hasn't been written yet, and he goes to the Emerald Dream again, where he gets corrupted again in the Emerald Nightmare raid, and we kill him again. Now Ardenweald has been written into the lore, and his spirit goes there, but they're going through a drought, and the Winter Queen goes, "Wow, this bear fucking sucks," and has his essence used to restore all of the other seeds, meaning Ursoc dies again in the Death Realm, meaning that he is now super, super dead. And I just want to know who at Blizzard hates Ursoc so much, because he is the most punished character in all of the Warcraft universe for literally no reason whatsoever. And you know what? I think we need a palate cleanser after that depressing story. So, look over here at the Westfall Brigade. This is a platoon of soldiers from the People's Militia in Westfall. It's even led by Grain Stoutmantle, that guy that stands in front of the tower in Sentinel Hill. And there's also these freakishly large children. Okay, maybe we need to go somewhere else. Look over here at the Amberpine Lodge. This is one of the coziest locations in the zone, where you can relax at, and there's even a quest over here where you get to enjoy some delicious amber seeds, and after you eat them, you go over here and... Okay, well, maybe we can just move on real quick to, okay, here we go. Nothing is more cozy than deforestation. Here at Blue Sky Logging Camp. Here we can listen to the relaxing ambient sounds of trees being cut down. And this area is a big PvP zone where you'll never actually find anyone because nobody actually does world PvP in 2022. But the real reason why we're here is because of the best feature in all of Grizzly Hills. No! The best feature in all of World of Warcraft. Travel up these stairs, talk to this dwarf, and you can take an exhilarating log ride all the way down the Grizzly Hills Rapids. Watch as you gracefully move through these rapids at an exhilarating speed. The log ride of your life will end in Venture Bay, another PvP area that will 99% of the time be incredibly empty. Here in Conquest Hold, the Horde are establishing a foothold in the Grizzly Hills. The commander of this platoon is named Conqueror Krenna, who is always flanked on either side by her pretty boy Blood Elf bodyguards. But many don't know that Conqueror Krenna has an extensive history. In the short story Heart of War, it follows Garrosh Hellscream when he first arrives in Orgrimmar. In one of the sections of the story, Garrosh runs into Krenna and her sister Gorgona. Krenna talks about how she isn't impressed by Garrosh's lineage since his father, Grom Hellscream, was the first one to drink demon blood and doom the Orcish race. And now look at them. They're in a crappy desert with no resources, they have to constantly import supplies, and they're surrounded on all sides by enemies. Quite frankly, the Horde sucks, Grom sucked, and Thrall sucks. Garrosh responds by saying,
"I'm gonna beat your traitorous ass!"
But Gorgona intervened, explaining the reasoning for the orcs living in the desert to atone for their sins, since they killed a bunch of innocents in their demon blood-fueled rage and blah 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 blah, who cares? After mulling over the interaction, Garrosh would later come to the conclusion that perhaps Krenna was right. The Horde may in fact be led by an idiot who doesn't care for the well-being of his people. Garrosh would later 1v1 Thrall, but that is a story for another time. Back to Krenna. In the Conquest Hold, there is a long quest chain where you help her and the other soldiers in the barracks. Throughout this quest chain, Krenna is a cold, brutal leader who deals out extreme punishments to those that don't follow her direct orders. For example, she wanted to break the leg of a hide trader for not having enough hide. She orders her sister, Gorgona, to do it, but she just lightly kicks his leg instead. Krenna later catches on that her sister is not following her exact orders, and they have a duel to the death in the arena of the Hold. And I'd just like to add that I find it hilarious that the Horde felt like they absolutely needed an arena when establishing a base for absolutely no reason. The duel ends with Gorgonzola winning, and she becomes the new commander of the fortress, but she killed the pretty boy Blood Elves in the duel. In the northern reaches of the hills, Drakari trolls from Zuldrak are fleeing from their homelands and spreading across the zone. The hunting party located in Granite Springs is wanting to put a stop to it because they hate trolls. You may remember this group from TBC where they hang out in front of Zul'Aman. The leader of this band of misfits is named Bud Neckred. The final quest he gives you in Zul'Aman is to obtain the blood of Zul'Jin after his defeat. When handed the blood, Bud will toss it into the fire, which enrages the troll spirits, and they sweep him up and throw him into the fire as well. When we find him again in Wrath, he has gone utterly insane and is convinced that he is now a troll. You go on a quest with him where he thinks he's playing tag with his fellow trolls, but in reality, he's just sneaking up on them and whacking them over the head with a frying pan. Bud and his band of adventurers would later come back in the Cataclysm expansion, but Bud's troll delusions seemed to be a phase, but his insanity wasn't.
Ooh, shiny!
Hey! Another interesting character in the Granite Springs camp is the imprisoned Drakari troll named Drakuru. He takes you on a long quest chain that starts with him proposing a truce to the player, and he will offer them knowledge about the Drakari trolls. Both Drakuru and the player character cut their hands with a knife and give each other a firm handshake. Then you go and do some quests, and then you go to the Draktheron Keep dungeon, where at the end of the dungeon, Drakuru betrays you and teams up with the Lich King. Oh my god, and then you do nothing about it, and then you leave the dungeon. And the later part of this story is in Zuldrak, so we won't be covering that in this video. Just kidding, we are! The player character then disguises themselves as a member of the Scourge and betrays the betrayer. And in the troll's final moments, he summons the Lich King to defeat the player character, but instead, he just cuts Drakuru's head clean off.
I spare your insignificant life as a reward for this amusing betrayal. There may yet be a shred of potential in you. Be warned. When next we meet, I shall require much more to justify your life.
And that is all there really is to talk about relating to the zone of Grizzly Hills. Yes, there are other parts of the zone I didn't talk about, but that's for a very important reason. They're boring.
Uh,